For more on the situation in Ukraine, we want to bring in Jamil Jaffer. He is the founder and executive director of the National Security Institute. He is also the former associate White House counsel to President George W. Bush. Jamil, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Let's start with Moscow, turning off gas to Poland and Bulgaria. Russia says it's because those countries refuse to pay for the fuel in rubles. Talk to us about what this means in the short term. But also, is this a warning to other countries like Germany that, hey, we are all codependent and we can do this to you, too?
Yeah, Vicky, obviously, this is a huge escalation in the economic conflict between NATO and Russia as a result of its illegal war in Ukraine. They've now cut off these oil supplies. These gas supplies. These are critical gas supplies to Poland and Bulgaria. Now, Poland has some reserves. 80% of the reserves are filled. They've got some new contracts. They're working with other countries to get some gas in. They have a liquid natural gas facility. That being said, this is very much a shot across the bow to other major countries like Germany. Russia's saying exactly what you said, which is we control your energy supply. Don't continue to mess with us. Otherwise, we will cut that off. And even though it may cause Russia some economic pain, it looks like they're willing to suffer that in order to make Europe pay a price. This will become a big issue very quickly moving forward if Russia stands by this position.
Jamil, the New York Times is reporting explosions in 3 Russian regions bordering Ukraine. Ralph talked about those just a moment ago, one of which it appeared to be a strike on an ammunitions depot. It's not clear what caused the explosions. Russians claim that the Ukrainian military has been behind at least one attack on Russian soil before. If that's the case here, what kind of message does that now send to Russia?
Well, look, Vicky, I think this is a really important step that the Ukrainians have taken. They've been doing this now for a while. They launched some short-range ballistic missiles, Tochka missiles, former Russian missiles, early on in the conflict against a Russian airbase at Milarovo. They've now struck twice the ammo depots in Belgrade. They also hit some oil depots in Bryansk over the weekend. Some of these have been helicopter attacks. Some of these have been ballistic missiles. There's also some claims that that Britain and the U.S. are training Ukrainian special forces to go across the border into these facilities and conduct these attacks with small man groups. We don't know if that's actually what's going on here, but certainly it sends a message that to the Russians from Ukraine that we can bring this war to you and make the Russian people see that there is a price for this conflict. It's very surprising that Russia is allowing this to happen. It raises concerns that Russia will amp up its attacks on civilians, amp up its use of its capabilities, and this war may get hotter faster as Ukrainians get more and more successful on the battlefield.
Well, after Russia warned there was a real danger of, quote, World War III, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin pledged to, quote, move heaven and earth to help Ukraine win the war. Now, those were very strong words. What do you think that's having in terms of an impact on Russia, its actions, Vladimir Putin, his state of mind? And do you think the United States is getting closer toward a direct conflict with Russia?
Well, look, Vicky, I mean, the president has made clear he does not intend to put troops on the ground into Ukraine. But we have allowed Vladimir Putin to set the tone of this war as he's gotten more aggressive against civilian targets, as he's had some successes and some setbacks. The Ukrainians have been more successful. We've been providing more and more weapons and more high quality weapons and intelligence to the Ukrainians. That's the right thing. The challenge, of course, is that, if we had done this earlier, months ago, before this conflict, we might have very well staved off this war and saved the thousands of civilian lives, the millions of Ukrainians that have now fled the country, that are refugees in other countries and displaced within Ukraine. So the real question becomes now, what happens if Vladimir Putin uses chemical weapons or goes further? We've now seen him stoking problems in Moldova, in the Transnistria region. He's now cut off oil supplies to NATO countries. At what point does NATO say enough is enough, right? And we need to intervene militarily to stop this conflict, bring it to a rapid end, and help civilian lives? I mean, we are getting closer to that point, but the president has been clear he does not intend to put U.S. troops on the ground.
An estimated 40,000 civilian lives lost already. Jamil Jaffer, thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Good evening. Today, Ukraine's president said that the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, and the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin would visit the country's embattled capital, Kyiv, tomorrow, Orthodox Easter Sunday. So far, there's no comment or confirmation from the State Department or the Pentagon. Volodymyr Zelensky spoke at a defiant news conference where he said the visit was not, quote, a big secret. Also today, Russian forces launched deadly missile strikes on Odessa, hitting a residential neighborhood. The Russians also took aim at targets in the besieged city of Mariupol. CBS's Charlie D'Agata has the latest tonight from Venezia.
Good evening. Normally tonight, people in Ukraine would be getting ready to celebrate Orthodox Easter tomorrow, but no one is in the mood to celebrate. Those who aren't fighting for their lives will be praying for those who are. Instead of a temporary ceasefire to evacuate civilians, Ukrainian officials accuse Russian troops of trying to storm the steelworks where fighters and families are taking shelter. New video released by the Azov Regiment of Ukraine's National Guard is said to show women and children who've been holed up in the bunkers beneath the plant for up to 2 months. The video, reportedly taken 2 days ago, cannot be independently verified. We brought some food for the children, says a Ukrainian fighter. Around 1,000 people are thought to be trapped in a maze of tunnels beneath the huge industrial site. We want to go home, says this little girl. We want to see the sun. New satellite images appear to show fresh grave sites, as the mayor said 20,000 civilians may have died so far. Russia's Reach struck Odessa today, Ukrainian officials say, firing at least 6 cruise missiles into the Black Sea port city. This attack comes as a Russian commander revealed that Moscow is planning to establish a land bridge across southern Ukraine to Transnistria, a breakaway republic in eastern Moldova. This only confirms what I've said many times. President Volodymyr Zelensky said the Russian invasion of Ukraine was only the beginning. They want to capture other countries. Russian forces have intensified attacks along a 300-mile front line in eastern Ukraine. In the city of Kharkiv, we found widespread destruction everywhere. And families who've been taking shelter deep underground in subway stations for months. Sophia celebrated her 75th birthday in this subway train last month. A subway train is no place to call home. Definitely not, she said. It doesn't feel like home. But here, you can't hear the shooting. I'm so scared. Too scared to go home, if there's even a home left to go to.
Charlie D'Agata joins us now. Charlie, as you reported, Russian strikes targeted Odessa today. Why is that city so strategic?
Well, first of all, Adriana, Ukrainian officials say that 6 civilians were killed in one of those missile strikes, including a 3-month-old baby. It's a strategic port city because it sits between Mariupol and Moldova, and if it's Russia's intent to establish a land bridge between those 2 areas, that would include taking over Odessa itself.
Charlie D'Agata and our CBS News crew, thank you.
Has really touched a nerve, and recent events in northern Utah have probably put an exclamation point on it. But First Amendment audits are something that many of us in the local government world are concerned about. And so we decided that we should do a session on this. And first of all, I just want to start out with a couple of items. Number one, I believe in the U.S. Constitution. I think it's an inspired document. I think the amendments are critical to us in our rights as human beings. I think free speech is a precious right that needs to be protected. And I also believe that government needs to be transparent in what they do. and not impede our rights as citizens. But I don't necessarily believe that our local government agencies have this in mind, that they're out trying to impair or impede our free exercise of our rights. Now, I think there can be bad actors out there in any situation, but I don't believe that's what we see in general with our local government agencies. I also believe that we need to be prepared to handle these situations where people will come in to test our local government agencies' respect for the Constitution and their rights. And I think we also need to be ready to protect our people and our property. So just a couple of things. So I'm not an attorney, but I am a risk manager. And my job with the trust is to help keep you out of trouble, to help make your job easier and help avoid some of those bad problems that can happen out there. And so today, my goal is to help provide you some information and some tools on dealing with First Amendment audits. Now, there is a broader subject of the First Amendment and protests and things like that. What can and can't we do? How do we deal if a protest comes into town? That's not what we're covering today. We're really drilling in on that First Amendment audit subject. However, we do have an excellent overview of this subject that Heather White and Scott Young did in a webinar for the Trust here. Actually, it was in 2020, kind of at the peak of when those protests were going on around the country. And they did an outstanding job of talking about the overall First Amendment legal issues pertaining to that and protests and all of that. So I'll refer you to that. If you're watching on YouTube, there'll be a link floating around somewhere that you can click on. If you're watching live right now, there's the link that you can go to after, and I will be sending that out in the follow-up email that we'll be sending out after the presentation. Okay, so now we've got all the disclaimers and everything done. Let's talk about the subject of the important subject of the day, First Amendment audits. And I'll say on here, get ready. Your audit is coming. Doesn't matter the size of your organization. Somebody's going to show up and they're going to start swinging a camera around, taking video of your people. They may be on the sidewalk. They may be in the front, at the front foyer of your building. And you're going to be faced with this situation. It's happened to many of you already. Some of you have seen the news recently of various local government agencies being visited, whether they're law enforcement or the city hall or the county or whoever it may be. We're under a microscope when it comes to First Amendment audits. Some of these have got a lot of media coverage, and some of them have got an awful lot of hits on YouTube. So these interactions can be unnerving. All of a sudden, there's somebody in your office and they're filming you. They're just walking around and being silent. They're not saying anything. When you ask them if you can help them, they say, nope, I'm good. You may feel threatened in these situations. And that's really why we're here today, is to help you be prepared, to help you prepare your staff, your coworkers when it comes to this subject. We had an interesting discussion here at the Trust last week. I said, hey, I'm going to be doing this webinar next week. Anybody that's at the Trust that's interested, wants to attend, please do so. And we had a rousing discussion about the subject. And I think that's probably the same that will happen around. Okay, here's that video clip. I hope everything works out right. This is an interaction that happened here in the state of Utah, and take a look and think about how you would respond.
Huh? No, I've been helped.
Okay. Mind if we ask what you got?
Name and badge?
Sergeant Alexander.
Okay.
Badge number 63. How can I help you?
Oh, I said I don't need no help.
Okay, so my curiosity is, why are you filming the PD?
Is it against the law to do it?
Well, we're within our right to find out why you're doing it in case you're trying to scope it out for a shooting or an attack or something like that.
It does pose a potential safety risk.
So which right is that?
Which right?
Which right?
Yeah. Say you got the right to check.
To come and make sure. Yeah, I want to ascertain what your purpose is in filming the PD.
So someone that is not breaking any law, you're gonna just come and.
Have I detained you?
Oh, I'm not saying you're detaining me. I never said that you were detaining me.
Okay, so what's the...
I just said...
So here's my question. If somebody were outside of your home on a public place and they were filming you, how would you feel?
Hey, it's his rights to film.
Is that really how you feel, or are you saying that
sir.
because you're talking to two police officers?
Go and talk to him?
Nope.
You wouldn't be at all worried about it?
It's his business.
Okay, that's fair.
If he's
So
in my
next
property,
question
if
is,
he's in my property,
are
that's
you willing
different.
to tell me what your name is?
No, sir. No, sir. By the way, what's your name, sir?
Officer Harrison,
And badge number?
117.
Okay. All right.
Okay, well, that's fair.
So you're worried that I'm gonna do terrorists, you said?
Well, I don't know what you're going to do, but usually when people are unwilling to even let me snap a picture of them, would you mind taking a picture of them?
Working on that. Just
So these guys
So
are
if you're gonna
forcing
take a
themselves
video
to
of
take
us,
pictures of me.
I'll take a video of you
It's
as
okay.
well.
Yeah, it's okay. You can go ahead and do
Within our constitutional rights
it. Which is?
to not get attacked, killed,
I get
murdered.
attacked, huh?
All right, so what do you think about that?
All right, so I would like to know what you guys think about that, because pretty much, my opinion, the officers acted correctly. I myself, okay, listen to me, I understand. I'm surprised this frauditor didn't turn around and tell the cop, well, this isn't your house, because that's normally what would come out of their mouth when the officer would give that kind of, an explanation. Well, how would you feel if somebody was in front of your house recording? And I've said it in many of my videos, where a lot of these employees, police officers that have been working at that particular location where the frauditor is at now doing a First Amendment so-called audit, okay? They've been there for years. And we all know, guys, when you've been at a location for years, that location becomes like your second home. So you got to understand the employees, the police, anybody that they're interacting with. If they act like this, if they come at you like this with questions, with what are you doing or whatsoever, it's not that because they're trying to violate your rights. They're concerned. They want to know what's going on. This frauditor turns around and he tells the cop, when the cop asked him about if somebody was in front of your house recording, well, how would you feel? What would you do? And the guy turns around, it's bullshit, guys. Oh, it's all right, it's okay, it's his right. Bullshit. Anybody come in front of my house, I don't mind. I live on the avenue, so I always got the kids and people hanging around in front of my house. I don't mind. I don't care, as long as they don't throw any kind of crap that I gotta clean up afterwards. I don't care. But if I see somebody aiming a camera at my house for a certain amount of time, I'm going to give them the reaction. I'm going to give them the reaction they want then. Hey, what's going on? Why are you recording my house? Let me know. I need to know. Okay? Now, officers, you got to understand the job that they do. They're arresting people and all that crap. So I could imagine what crosses their mind. Is this guy here gathering intelligence and seeing what time our shift changes, you know what I mean. So you can understand why the cops would ask these questions or whatsoever. And you see how the frauditor must have been trying to hide his face or whatsoever when the cops wanted to take a picture of him. Hey, come on. If you're a true activist, okay, then hey, you're there recording them, holding them accountable. Well, they need to know who the hell if you're really, I don't know, my opinion, if you're not ashamed of what you're doing, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Okay, if you're testing their rights to see if they're going to violate it or whatever, I don't know. My opinion, you got to give up some information. I'm such and such, and this is what I'm doing, and so forth. Because you start playing that evasive shit, then I don't know. You're making things worse. Well, with frauditors, they want the public employees and the police to abide by certain rules, but they don't want to play by the rules, and it ain't right. It's not right. That's my opinion. I'd like to know what you guys think.
What do you think about that interaction? Positive, negative? Did the cops do anything right, wrong? These are the types of interactions that we're seeing on social media, particularly YouTube, and we see these becoming more and more common all across the country. So what is a First Amendment audit? Well, it's a video encounter. Almost all of these are videotaped or filmed in one way or another. It's an encounter with a quote unquote citizen journalist or a social media activist. Okay, a lot of times these are people with an axe to grind. They don't like law enforcement. They don't like government. Some are, I believe, really true believers in the First Amendment and in the Constitution, and they want to make sure everything is going okay. Some of them are entrepreneurs who are making money on videos that get a lot of hits. A lot of times these people will not provide identification or let you know who they are or what they're up to. They may be wearing masks. There are a lot of things that might be a little unnerving. So what is their overall goal? Generally, I think their goal is to make sure you are respecting the Constitution. But I think many of these people are looking to get you to have a reaction, to provoke a reaction and get hits and make money. Many of these people have large networks of followers on different social media groups, and sometimes they're changing channels, but because they have interactions with these networks, they're able to get a lot of followers quickly when they create a new channel. And many of the videos will get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of hits. And if you know anything about social media, if you're getting millions or hundreds of thousands of hits, you're probably making money. You can monetize the content that you're putting on YouTube and other social media outlets. Okay, so this is kind of the group that we have. It may be a live stream, so you may not have any time to prepare for what's going out there. They may do it live. Now, that's not generally what I see. Most of these, actually, they go back and edit, and they'll edit out things that make them look bad. They will definitely accentuate things that you have done or I have done that are not the most beneficial towards our character reputation. There might be one person, or they may have several. You might get hit with 3 or 4 people that will show up and just start videoing various aspects. Like I said, they may be out on the sidewalk. They may come into your front office. They particularly like to sit outside of a jail or a police station and see if they can provoke a reaction from law enforcement. They will generally hang around until somebody responds. They will likely ask you your name, your job, what you do. They might ask you if you're law enforcement and you interact with them, they almost for sure will ask what your badge number is and what your name is. They may ask for complaint forms. If I have a complaint, who do I go to? How do I go about lodging this complaint? They may point out things about your facility that are that aren't right. There may be something that an employee of your organization ran a stoplight or did some traffic violation. You may have your flag displayed wrong or something like that, and they'll point out minor things like that. Okay. The targets generally for this are law enforcement, public officials, public employees, and really anybody who will react. So what does a general First Amendment audit look like? A lot of times these people will be silent. They'll just come in, they'll walk around taking video. Occasionally, they are very confrontational. They may be somebody, or they may be trying to provoke this interaction or provoke a response that makes you look bad. And so they might call you names. They might ask you things that are you know, difficult to hear, or things that we don't want to talk about. They may say, "How much money do you make?" You know, I can go on and I can look up your salary. I'm going to post that online. Sometimes they can be very confrontational, but many times they're not. All right. So what do we need to be prepared for? Be prepared for things that will be uncomfortable. They may post your name, your email, your phone number, your salary on YouTube or on other social media, especially if you're somebody who reacts and they don't have a good interaction with. You may get a flood of calls or nasty grams, I call them, if your email or your phone number gets posted up there. Now, I don't like this. I think this is tantamount to harassment. But once again, I'm not an attorney, and you'll want to approach every one of those cases from that angle. But the most important thing is, let's not get to that point to start with. Okay, you saw in that video that we posted there, the officer took out his phone and started taking pictures of the First Amendment auditor. I'm going to recommend that you don't do that. Why would I say that? Why should you not pull out your phone? Well, we just gave that First Amendment auditor a great opportunity to make a grammar request of your phone pictures or other things that are out there. Or that may be on our phone. Did you record any audio there? And they'll do a grammar request of that. And it may be my personal phone. It may be my work phone. But that's something that you may have to deal with. Don't give them that opportunity. Okay. All right. So a lot of you are feeling frustrated right now. So what can we do about this? You're feeling like, well, this is really an invasion here. I don't mean anything ill towards people's constitutional rights. That's really what we do as local governments, is we protect people's rights, and we help people have a good community to live in, and we provide great services and all these things. And these people are coming in and harassing us. What do I do? Well, we're going to give you some tools and some knowledge right now about that. First, number one thing is we work for public agencies in a public place. And if I am a person in a public place, I can take pictures, I can film. If I'm on a public sidewalk, it is legal for me to take video, to take pictures, even if it's of the jail or the police station or city hall. And speaking my mind is legal. I can go out in a public forum and public place, and I can say I'm mad at the government, or I'm mad at something else, or I'm religious, or I'm atheist, or whatever it is. I can go out there and shout it to the top of my lungs. So it is legal to speak my mind. However, depending on the time, the place, content, some of that can be limited. So for example, many of you in your public meetings, if we have a city council meeting, we may limit the amount of time. You can get up and you can say the things that you're concerned about in our community, but we're giving you 3 minutes to do it. And we're also going to put some limits on the in the manner in which we allow people to do that. If you're vulgar and if you're threatening, well, those types of things may not be permitted. And once again, talk to your attorney about these things and how you put those in place. All right. There are other places where there's not an expectation to be able to film. A restroom, changing room, places like that, a private office in somebody's workplace, polling places, airports, courtrooms, those types of places may not be allowed. But in general, our places of work, our forward-facing parts of our building are public forums. They're a place where people can come in and use that area. So we've got to realize that I can't just say, you can't film in here. And be prepared for that, and prepare all of our staff for that. Okay. So how do we prepare for this? We want to educate everybody in the organization, because it doesn't matter what your job is, you may come under this type of scrutiny. If I work at the front desk, absolutely for sure, I need to be prepared for this. But can a public works employee out in the working out in the street somewhere also come under a First Amendment audit? Absolutely. Can a police officer out doing their job come under this type of scrutiny? Absolutely. So everybody needs to be trained and prepared for that. And train everybody on that filming is legal. In a public employee in a public space, they can film you. As uncomfortable as it is, they can film. We need to be trained to not overreact. And as a matter of fact, as we'll talk in a minute, we want to go just the opposite direction on that. Here's some other things that we can do to prepare. Designate our public versus non-public areas. What is front of house? What is back of house? Many times these First Amendment auditors will go wherever they can get away with. They'll wander throughout your facility, and if we haven't designated, hey, this is a staff only area, or put some controls, meaning doors, and locking doors, locking areas up, we may not have a great leg to stand on in stopping them from going to these places. Realize that these people can't interfere with your ability to do your job. If our employees are there and this person comes up and they start rifling through your papers, or they're asking you incessant questions or leaning over your shoulder, then they've probably gone too far. And that's not what I've seen in most of these videos that I've watched. Most of them are fairly respectful. They just walk into the place and see whether there will be a reaction. Remember that, following employees around, trailing them all the time, or following them around as they do their jobs, may border on stalking. And once again, talk to your attorneys about what that line is. But if somebody's just walking around in the front office and taking some video there, they're free to do that. Know what goes over the line. Okay, another thing that we need to do is thinking about protecting our confidential information. Many of your organizations out there will have important information like driver's license numbers, maybe social security numbers, medical information, you name it. There's a lot of private information that we don't want to get out to the public. And if you have those types of papers all over your desk, and somebody comes in and videos, that could be a problem. So think about that. Today, what kind of information do we use? And if this happens, what can I do to protect that type of information from becoming public? Where should we be using that information? That's a good discussion to have. With everything else aside, with the First Amendment audits aside, let's talk about how we control that important private information. Okay. And also, once again, consult your attorney. How do we prepare on this? What areas can we designate as private, and what are non-public areas, and what areas are those public places where people can come in and they can protest and they can video and do all of those things. Talk to your attorney about that stuff. Okay, what about a threat? Sometimes, like I said, these types of visits may be unnerving, but they may not be necessarily a threat. And I don't believe that most of these are. But if you feel threatened, if somebody threatens violence upon you, if a weapon is brandished, something like that, call 911. It's a simple thing there. If you feel there is a threat, call 911. Let them know what's going on, and let law enforcement take action there to figure out, is it really a threat or not? So take a look at what is harassment, have that discussion with your attorney, and then let's march on. Okay, so reaction. You're still feeling frustrated at this point. Here's what we need to do when we have a First Amendment audit. Smile, be calm, ask them, hey, what can I do to help you? And when they say nothing, say, all right, well, let me know if there's something I can do to help. Let them know to have a nice day. You may find a situation where where they're out on your sidewalk there, and you're walking back, you're coming back to work from lunch, and this person's out there taking a video. You can preempt some of this. You can say, oh, I see you're exercising your constitutional rights. Well, let me know if you need anything today. It's kind of hot out here today. I've got some water in there if you need it. Let them do their audit within reason. You know, we don't allow them to go places that it's not a public area where they can go. We don't allow them to get into a situation where they could be hurt or hurt somebody else. But in most cases, we want to produce the most boring YouTube video ever. Because guess what? If it's a boring YouTube video, nobody's going to watch. And they may not even post it up. Kill them with kindness is the best way to react to a First Amendment audit. Respect their rights, allow them to do their audit, and then they'll go, darn it, I didn't get anybody to react, but they may say, hey, good job on your organization for respecting the Constitution, respecting my First Amendment rights, okay? So just I wanted to throw a slide up here and just talk about this front of house, back of house concept.
That was truly the best advice that man could give any of those employees there or the police. If you don't give them the reaction they want, that video is definitely going to be boring. I doubt very much they're going to post it, okay? I could just imagine. You're on your way walking into your place of business and you see them outside. Hey, I see you're exercising your right. Oh my God, that's like you just cut them off right there. You nipped it at the bud. Oh, these people know we're out here exercising our rights. We're not going to get the reaction. Next location or whatever, you know. And you're giving them the respect that they want. A lot of them want that reaction. We all know that, guys. We all know a lot of these frauditors, they're not looking for the respect. We've had Amagansett Press state that he has over 400 videos, a shitload of them, of people respecting his rights, but he doesn't play them because he knows nobody's going to watch them. So isn't that a kick in the ass? The guy that has over 300,000 subscribers, who people see as Jesus Christ, who believe everything that man says, he pretty much states that he will not post any videos showing good audits because nobody's going to watch it. And if that's not admitting that the subscribers, all they want to see is drama, and that these frauditors, all they do is go to these locations and cause the drama to keep their subscribers happy, then I don't know what else is proof. But that's all the proof to me that I need, okay? So that is the best advice this guy give. And if you guys are interested, you guys want to share this video with any of your local government, message me. I'll send you the video without my commentary. And you can pretty much give it to your local post office, local police department, your local government, so that they can watch it and they could have a heads up. I'm going to do it. Even though I socialize with two cops on a daily, not a daily, every other day I run into them and we bullshit, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not a bootlicker. I just know two cops that are cool with me. And I always, if I see them, I socialize. I'm not an antisocial person. So I've chit-chatted with them about this bull crap here. And the post office, I did that a while ago. But I'm going to download this video either into a, what they call those flash drives or whatever, and give it away. Give it to them so that they have a heads up on these frauditors. So like I said, any one of you guys that want this video without the commentary, message me. I'll send you the video. And give your local government the heads up. The heads up that they need, so that they don't end up on YouTube looking stupid.
Protect those non-public areas. Okay, so I took this picture in one of our organizations the other day, and I made them a little nervous. There were some calls. Some guy came in and took a picture. sometimes in many of our buildings, we'll have this front counter, right? Here's the public's area where they can interact, and back behind that we have staff areas where we have offices and where we do what we do. Where's the interaction? Well, let's look over here on the far left hand of the screen there. There's some little swinging doors. Is there a place there where we can put a simple sign that says staff only or employees only beyond this point? Is there a way that we can put a doorknob on that is locked, that we can discourage people from going where they're not supposed to? Think about that front of house and back of house, and let's be consistent with that. One of the big concerns I have as a risk manager as I walk around your facilities and look at various risks is security. And I'll ask you out there, if I went out to whatever shop, public works shop, parks department, whatever, where we have our fleet of vehicles, what's the chance that I could get into a truck or a car and not have to hotwire it to drive it away? The keys are left in it. Well, I think we're very trusting people, and it's great. We have low crime rates in most parts of the state, and we've gotten away with that for a long time. But we should take a hard look at our security risks. Do we leave the back door open on the building because sometimes people forget their keys? Do we make it too easy for people to get where they shouldn't get? We should all take a look at that and harden that front part or that interface between front of house and back of house. We need to do the same thing when it comes to our private information that we need to keep secure. Okay. All right. Here's one item. After all the frustration that you felt through this presentation, I say, do you want to trash their audit? Do you want to make it so they don't get out of it what they want? Well, number one, don't give them anything to use. Okay, that's a pretty simple thing. If we kill them with kindness and they don't have anything that's going to get a lot of hits, we win, right? We've respected their constitutional rights, and they didn't get the hits that they wanted, and maybe they'll go out and get a day job. Here's another thing that you can do. And this one you can do this as publicly as you want. Talk to your attorney about that. Turn on some music. You say, why do I want to turn on some music? Well, when we talk about YouTube, every time I upload a YouTube video, it goes through a screen and it looks for any copyrighted music, and somehow their software in there will go through the video and find out if there's anything that's copyrighted, and it will flag the video and not let me upload it. It will not be monetized. People can't make money on it. So you may just turn on some music out of your phone and say, particularly if somebody's being confrontational or whatever, you like music? I really like music. I think of thinking of a couple of songs here. If you go back to the 60s, Barry McGuire wrote a song, the Eve of Destruction. maybe some John Lennon, Imagine or something like that. Turn it on and play it loud enough that it's definitely going to be captured in their video. Well, you just put a real challenge on them in getting this video uploaded and making money on it, because they'll get a copyright hit from YouTube. There will be a claim against that video, and they won't make any money on it. So that's kind of a simple thing that we can do, and we can really weed out who's there to see about to see how you're doing with the Constitution and who's there to make money. Okay. All right. Here's one more video.
Now that's even good advice too. I remember getting so many comments back in the old days. Just turn on copyrighted music. They'll leave you alone, blah, blah, blah. And I always said, yeah, true, you're right, but that's not really going to stop them, because they could kind of mute the they'll just mute that section out or whatsoever. But how many times have we seen videos, and right now I'm coming to think of one where Denver Metro audits, where he was he was at a post office with his buddies trying to find a guy that was doxing him, that was putting out his information on his comment section of his videos. So Denver Metro audits went to the post office to screw with him, to do a so-called audit at the post office. That post office started playing music through the speakers, right? Would you believe Denver Metro audits talking? Now he's telling his subscribers, I'm going to take them to court for this. They're stopping me from because we all know that proved right there, because what this guy is saying, if that frauditor goes to a location and he's bitching and moaning about them playing music, or he turns around and he leaves, that just means he was there just to make a video, just to make money. But now if that frauditor stays there, then basically in reality he's there just to prove, he believes in what he's doing, let's say. Okay? But like again, I say with Denver Metro audits, he was talking about like taking that post office to court for playing music because it was interfering with him making money. Isn't that some shit? That goes to show you where his mentality is at. Guys, if you don't believe me, go on his channel, look up, I forget the name of it. I got it, I made a video of it, but I'm not good. I'll forget the next day what I titled a video. But again, I say, go on his damn channel, look for that video of a post office video. This was, again, I say, he was looking for the individual who was doxing him. Mind you, this is a man who puts people's information out there, splatters it through YouTube, but then when it's done to him, oh, now all of a sudden he's talking lawsuit, it's a felony, and blah, blah, blah. And again, the nerve that he was going to take the post office to court because they were playing music, stopping him from, the way he said it, interfering with his money. So, the way he said it, I pointed it out in my video, okay? So, it was just, my God, that shows you all he's about is he's doing this shit just to make a buck. These subscribers, some of them believe that these guys are out there. I honestly believe some of these subscribers believe, just like I did, that these guys are out there fighting for people's rights. But when you hear assholes like that talking about, I'm going to take the post office to court because they were playing music, and that's going to stop me from making money on my video, are you kidding me? That's proof right there that it's all about making money. But that was a good advice, and hey, if I wish I was involved with local government the same way the department. When you go into department stores, I'm sure we've all gone into a department store or supermarket, and they got that nice little music there. I don't know, somehow they say music gives the people, it makes them spend more money or some shit like that. That's the department's, the store departments, the way they think that playing music makes people spend money. But whatever, it'll stop a frauditor in their tracks if that's what they're about. You know what I'm getting at, guys?
Let's just say if it was you that sent me an email, I would have a hard time verifying that it's actually the person making the complaint that's doing the email. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But anybody could just come in and make a complaint without putting their names and everything, right?
Yeah.
And you guys will take the complaint and take it serious without the name? Yeah? Okay,
Yep.
Cool. Well, I think you answered my question. Good job. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you bet.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good day.
You too. I've been walking a lot, so I'm sweating.
Oh, no, I just saw you filming. I was like, I didn't know whether you were at the press.
Oh, yeah.
Like, did you need something? Or?
No,
Okay.
thanks. I appreciate your help, though.
All right, yep.
Thanks for being professional.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you too.
Okay, so we kind of had both sides of the coin here. How do we make this interaction positive? Number one, be prepared, so we know what's coming. That's what I think goes bad with these sometimes, is it's unnerving. All of a sudden, here's this dude out in the parking lot, And he's taking pictures of stuff. He's doing wandering around, looking at different things, taking pictures of the license plates on our vehicles. It makes us nervous. Be prepared. If we know what's going to happen, we'll be ready to make this as good as it can be. Give them the best customer service ever. Let's make sure that they go away from our organization going, yep, you know what? They did a good job. They respected my rights, and they treated me with a lot of respect, and I don't have to go back there again. Respect their rights. We all have rights under the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and we want those to be protected, and we should do that as governmental agencies. But we want to be prepared for that. Let's keep everyone safe. Be aware of real threats that are out there. In general, I don't see these guys as being a threat to your organization, except if we react in a bad way. And that threat is going to be bad press, potentially lawsuits. Who knows what could come out of that. But let's be prepared and really kill them with kindness. All right, questions? Mike, it looks like.